Hi, reception. Well, welcome back to Art Again. I am so excited to be doing art with you because this half term, the type of art we're going to be doing is one of my very favourite types of art. We're going to be looking at this artist here, and his name is Andy Goldsworthy. So let's find out about him. Who is Andy Goldsworthy? He is a British artist known for his sculptures. That means he makes things that are 3D, and his photography. He takes amazing photographs. He is an environmentalist, which means someone who wants to protect the environment, wants to protect our world around us. Here are some facts about him. He was born in 1956 in Cheshire. That's where we live. He grew up in Leeds. He studied art in a place called Lancashire, and now he lives in Scotland. Did you know, when he was 13, Andy worked on a farm picking potatoes. He said this was good training for him as an artist. That's a funny thing to say, isn't it? But he makes all of his art out of the natural world. So picking potatoes, getting his hands in the dirt, he was getting in touch with the natural world. So his art is called land art. He makes sculptures out of natural materials on sites in our country, in the UK, and around the world. He's made them in forests, in fields, in cities, in lakes, and fields. They are known as land art. Which natural materials can you think of that he could use to make his sculptures? What do you think? What natural materials could he use? I heard you. He could use leaves, twigs, pebbles, rocks, and even ice. He also uses flowers. Oh, some of my favourite things. And grass, pine cones even. Did you know he has even used human hair and cow dung, cow poo, in his work? So let's find out a bit more about him. As well as making sculptures, Andy takes photographs of his work over time to show how they change. What does he mean to show how they change? Have a look at this picture here. How would a piece of art like that change over time? Anyone got any ideas? That's right. The wind and the rain and the sun beating down on his artwork, if it's outside, can make bits fall off. It can make the colours change. Little things can grow up around his sculptures. So they become part of nature all over again. Did you know Andy was given an award called an OBE by the Queen in the year 2000? This was a very special award that the Queen gives only to a few people each year. So now this is a bit of a guessing game. Which natural materials are used in this sculpture by Andy Goldsworthy? What do you think? Let's see if you're right. Wooden logs. Wiggly ones, aren't they? I love them. Which natural materials do you think are used in this sculpture? I don't know if you'll get this one. Clay and human hair. Ew. What about this one? Which natural materials has he used here? Stone. That one was a bit easier, wasn't it? How about this one? What do you think he's used to make it? Wood, I think we would have said, like a twig, but clay as well. Which natural materials has he used in this beautiful snake-like sculpture? Stones, but also the trees. The trees are part of his sculpture. What do you think about this one? I'm not so sure we'll get this one. Cow dung. Yep, that brown stuff in the picture is cow poo. So Andy Goldsworthy says that we often forget that we are nature. We think we're more important than nature sometimes, but actually we're just part of nature. Andy Goldsworthy's art makes us think about how the world around us and how nature is art. It reminds us of our connection to nature. We are part of nature, and if nature is not looked after, everyone has a problem. Now, we've got some challenges here. The art we're going to do today has something to do with this one. Can you make a long line of leaves? So you might have gone foraging and found a load of leaves, which we can use in our art today. Can you make a pattern with stones? If you've collected stones, we may be doing something like that. Can you make a spiral? Now I'm going to show you that I'm going to do something like that, and you could do that with stones or leaves. The spiral looks quite like a snail shell, doesn't it? That's me doing it when I was on holiday at my mum's house. That's my mum's dog, Harvey, watching me making a spiral out of stones. I had great fun doing that. Hi, these are the stones that I gathered when I was riding my bike, as you saw in the video. So I think the first job we need to do is put them in the order of size. So I'm going to start by putting them from the biggest to the smallest. If you gathered stones, you could order your stones as well. And if you gathered leaves, maybe you could order them in size, or you could order them according to which colour they are. So I'm going to do mine first. One of the things Andy Goldsworthy did with his stones that we might have seen in one of the pictures is that he made a spiral out of them, just like a snail shell. So I think to help us do that, it might be a good idea to draw a spiral first with some chalk on the floor, just to help us. Looks a bit like a snail shell, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to start making my spiral out of these stones using the biggest ones first, so that they get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until they're the smallest ones in the middle. I'm just going to follow my line. If you're using leaves, maybe you could make the colours change as they go towards the middle. So can you see It's bigger at the start and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and my spiral lines are getting closer and closer together as well. You could leave it like this, or you could even add leaves around the edge if you wanted to. If you could find some leaves that you want to add, you could make your pattern bigger. So let me know how you got on. So now that you've seen what I did in art today, you may have done something similar, but if you found that a bit tricky, here are some other things you could have a go at. So I'm just going to show you the cards and you could try one of these. How many stones can you balance on top of each other? I had a go at that when I was on holiday as well. Can you tie 2 sticks together using only natural materials? Can you hang something from a tree? Can you balance one object on top of another in an unusual way? Can you wedge something between 2 trees that will stay there on its own? Can you make an arch or a tunnel from natural materials? Can you find a piece of natural material that looks like something else? For example, a face. Or do you know, I pass a tree every day on my way to school that looks like it has one big eye in it. How many different colours of natural object can you find? Can you make something big that can be seen from a long way off? Can you make a line of stones, pebbles, twigs or leaves so that each object in the line is smaller than the last? That's a bit like what we did. Can you scratch a rock with something? Maybe you could draw something on the rock. Can you make a shape from twigs? Can you make a shape from leaves? Wow, that's an awful lot of ideas. So whatever it is that you end up doing with your natural objects, please send me either a video or a photograph. I would love to see.